Asian markets open mixed. Chinese Prime Minister Xi Jinping meets prominent entrepreneurs at a closed-door symposium, signaling support to the country's private sector. The gift nifty is suggesting a flat start for the Indian market. Crude prices fall for the fourth straight day on Monday, but a tick higher this morning, with Brent crude trading around $75 a barrel. Gold prices gain to rise about 2,900 an ounce as US dollar weakens. Undeclared European assets held by Indians through offshore entities under the scanner of the Enforcement Director and the Income Tax Department. The deadline for voluntary declaration of such assets ended on 31st of December 2024. That's an exclusive. It's a matter of a life and death, says Volkswagen to the Bombay High Court as it challenges a tax demand of nearly $3 billion, claims it is compliant with import regulations and follows the same practice in Mexico, Thailand and Malaysia. Questions the ease of doing business and warns India will become a laughingstock. Hello, good morning. You've tuned into CNBC-TV18 and you're watching Power Breakfast with me, Vinny Motiwala. Let's take a look at what the Asian markets are doing this morning. Yesterday, yes, we didn't have overnight cues coming in from the US markets, but as of now, Asian markets seem to have opened up a bit mixed in trade. Hang Seng is trading with mild gains of 0.2%, while Taiwan index is down almost 10 points, so that's 0.04% decline that we've seen coming in for the Taiwan index. But other than that, we are seeing some commentary that's come in from Chinese President Xi Jinping. So that is what everyone is watching out for in the Asian markets in terms of the commentary there. Nikkei is holding on to gains of 0.4%. Shanghai is again down 0.2%. So very, very mixed opening is the indication coming in here. But looking at the Nifty implied open, indicating a very flat start as of now for the Indian markets. It's more with a negative bias. So as of now, it's down 35 points. So maybe we could see the Indian markets, the Nifty maybe open with a bit of a downtick. Yesterday, we did close in the green, so will be something interesting to watch out for that again. If the Nifty comes back into the green side, and where is it going to be headed? But that's the Asian market outlook this morning that we're seeing. Gift Nifty indicating a bit of a muted start. The US market, that was shut on Monday, and this is on account of President's Day that they had over there. However, Wall Street futures right now, what we're looking at, is seeing a bit of a rise as investors remain on the edge over the prospect of moderate tariffs, and interest rate remains high for a longer time. Now, Dow Jones futures, they are up around 81 points. S&P 500 futures are 8 points higher, while when you're looking at the tech-heavy Nasdaq, that's up almost 21 points as of now. That's the future story coming in from Wall Street. But on that note, let's also listen into some opinions that have come in from experts on where they are finding value to allocate investments. Listen in.
I think what we have been doing is looking at where the trends have gone, where there's actual fundamental support for the growth. So on the European front, we don't really see fundamental support yet. Fundamental supports remains very much in the US. Earnings growth, we're just wrapping up the fourth quarter earnings season, and the beats have been phenomenal. Companies have been coming in much better than expected, and it's broadening. It's not just in the tech sector. It's happening in financials, it's happening in other areas of the market. So that keeps us overweight in the US. But at the same time, we're overweight in emerging markets also. Because I think the bad news in EM had been priced in for the last 2-3 years. And we're finally seeing the market recognize that.
Okay, that's all the global overnight action that we have for you all coming in this morning. But how is all this going to be impacting our Indian markets? We do have a team of research joining in with us to set you up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. Now, let me get started first and talk about which are the important cues that we're watching out for today. Given that yesterday, finally, we saw that the markets actually snapped its 8-day losing streak, and we saw that the Nifty and the sensex recovered from the day's lowest point. Nifty about 22,900 levels. Sensex at one point of time was about 76,000. But yes, both of them ended in the green, ending that losing streak that we saw coming in. Now, when I'm looking at the broader markets, Nifty mid and small cap, that also ended a bit on that flattish to a bit of a positive bias for both the broader markets as well. So Nifty small cap snapped its 7-day losing streak, recovered 2.5% from the day's low. Mid cap also recovered around 2.8% from its intraday's low. What did well and what was doing very well is the banking sector. You know, we have those banking names that are holding out a very good performance in yesterday's trading session. So Nifty Bank also saw a good recovery, but HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, obviously among the top contributors for the Nifty 50, as well as Reliance coming in as a top contributor. Other than that, the sectors which did well and top sectoral gainers were Nifty Pharma as well as the Nifty Metals, which ended with very strong gains. All the pharma names were buzzing. Now, is this going to be continuing today? Something to watch out for specifically from the market point of view as well as the Nifty Bank point of view. What we saw coming in, FIIs, that selling is continuing through this, at 2025. Now, is that going to be continuing is a key factor to watch out for going forward. Other than that, the US trade uncertainty, tariff wars, what's happening on that front is an update that is keeping everyone on the edge. Indian rupee, let's watch out for that. A bit of a weakening that we'd seen in yesterday's trading session. Not much, but yes, a crucial one to watch out for. And Nifty levels of 22,800 is a key support level that we're keeping an eye out on. Like I mentioned before as well, Nifty implied open as of now is indicating a very muted start, a decline of 31 points as of now. So a bit of a red is what we're watching out for at the start for the Nifty 50. But now over to Sudarshan, who's here to tell us which are the important stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning, Winnie. So we have concluded earnings season for December ending quarter, and the last major company to report earnings was ABB. It has reported earnings for Q4 CY24, and Q earnings was like a beat across the board. Revenue was up 22%. Margin 2 has expanded by more than 400 basis points. Bharti Airtel book has been launched, and promoter entity, that is Indian Continental Investments, is likely to sell 0.8% equity via block list today, and offer size is likely around 8,000 crore, and offer price is at rupees 16,165.80 per share, which is at a 1% discount to yesterday's closing price. Zomato has introduced Nudget, an AI native no-code customer support platform. Currently, it's being used internally, but also companies looking to offer to all businesses worldwide. All Cargo Terminals has disclosed January business update. Volumes were up 11% YOY and also up 4% month-on-month. GMR Airports too has disclosed January business update. Passenger traffic was up 11% YOY, but month-on-month it was down 2%. Vedanta, it would be in focus because creditors and shareholders will be meeting today to vote on demerger proposal that company had approved before, like 2 to 3 months ago. LIC has launched new product, that is LIC Smart Pension Plan, and that product will be available for sale from today. SBI Card has appointed Salila Pandey as MD and CEO for 2 years, and currently she is Chief General Manager at State Bank of India. ICICI Prudential has got tax demand notice of rupees 190 crore from Maharashtra Tax Department. And last one is Anantraj. Its subsidiary Anantraj Cloud Science agreement with CSC Data Service, and both this company to jointly offer and promote rack rental businesses and cloud services.
Okay, Sudarshan, thank you so much for that. Surely a list of stocks to watch out for and trade. But what is the FNQ looking like this morning? Mangalam is here to tell us all about that. Good morning.
Good morning. So yesterday was the day of recovery where we snapped an 8-day losing streak for the frontline index. The Nifty also recovered about 234 points from the day's low. Important part is that the Nifty Bank, which led the recovery, and that's, formed a bit of a base for the Nifty itself. Importantly, because over the last, couple of months, we've seen the Nifty recover from levels just above that 22,700 mark. If you look at the recent lows on the Nifty, they've been contained around that 22,725 to 22,787 mark itself. Importantly, the FIIs, they were absent in yesterday's trading session. There was a sale of close to 3,900 crores, but the gross volumes were on the lower side as the US markets were shut on account of President's Day. In index futures, FIIs covered a few shorts and they added about, 1,000 long contracts. The important part is that they're still 16% long and 84% short, with the net contracts being at a negative 1.85 lakh. The positive, however, was the broader markets doing a lot better in yesterday's trading session, and that was reflective in the FII long exposure as well. In stock futures, they added 38,000 longs and covered about 8,800 shorts. So selective picking is what the FIIs are doing in index or rather stock futures itself. Because the market recovered from lows yesterday, there has been a fair amount of put writing at 22,700 and 22,800, telling you there is support at the levels that we earlier mentioned. But on the way up, the Nifty has to substantially cross that 23,000 mark because, we have seen writing at the 22,800 call and some punt buying beyond that itself. The 20-day moving average technically is the key level to watch out for and cross for bulls to feel happy. The Nifty Bank is closer to that. And Manappuram Finance is the one stock which we pointed out may enter F&O ban yesterday and now has entered F&O ban after exiting yesterday itself.
Absolutely, Mangalam. Thank you so much for that. But on that note, we're going to step into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. More news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned to Power Breakfast on CNBC-TV18. Now let's move on. And Indians who own assets abroad are under the scanner of the Enforcement Director and the Income Tax Department. Sources say that the focus will be on undeclared property held in Europe through offshore companies in tax havens. Tim C is joining in with us to give us more updates on this one. Tim C, what are you picking up here? What can we expect now?
Well, in two separate actions, one by the Enforcement Directorate and the other by the Income Tax Department, both the agencies are conducting actions against undeclared foreign assets. According to sources, under the scanner of the Enforcement Directorate and the Income Tax Department are HNIs with assets especially held in the European and Middle Eastern countries which do not match with the government data. Sources claim that the ED's probe is under the violations of FEMA, focusing on undeclared property held abroad via offshore companies in tax havens, especially those including British Virgin Islands, Dubai, etc. The ED's probe is to look into whether HNIs created offshore companies solely to acquire or hold properties abroad. Meanwhile, the Income Tax Department's probe is under the Black Money Act, focusing on HNIs with undeclared bank accounts, cash value insurance contracts, undeclared immovable property, capital assets, financial interest in any entity or businesses, custodial accounts, equity and debt investments, trusts, etc. abroad. The inquiries by the Income Tax Department are based on the mismatch between the data that the government has and the data that has been declared under the income tax returns by these HNIs as per the internal data of the tax department. It is also important to note that this action by the Income Tax Department has started post the special window which was launched by the Income Tax Department that ended on 31st December last year, where voluntary disclosures were sought, and the Tax Department had said that failure to disclose foreign assets or income in ITR can attract 10 lakh rupee penalty. So let's see how much of this inquiry will lead into mismatch, matching of data, and yes, not to forget, getting back these foreign assets data back in the country, noting an uptick in the returns and especially the revenue. Back to you.
Okay, Timsi, thank you so much for that. But move on, and the Bombay High Court heard Volkswagen's India's plea challenging the $1.4 billion tax demand. The auto giant has said that the total bill, including the penalty, could mount to nearly $3 billion and called it a matter of life or death. Volkswagen also claimed that it is following the same procedure in Mexico, Malaysia, as well as Thailand, and the company warned India could become a and I quote, a laughing stock. Ashmit Kumar is joining in with us to give us more details on this one. Ashmit, take us through what has transpired in the court.
Well, Volkswagen seeking quashing of that $1.4 billion show cause notice served in September of 2024 and made a number of arguments. Number one, it expressed a fear that this 1.4 will turn into $2.8 billion if the penalty is accounted for, and that will make it a life or death situation for Volkswagen here in India. Second, Volkswagen argued that as far as the industry is concerned, this is a practice that is followed by a number of players across the industry, and that setting this example will be a dangerous precedent. It will impact the entire industry. Third, Volkswagen argued that this is a practice of importing these parts and then claiming tax benefits that it follows in Mexico, Thailand, Malaysia, and that if there is a regime change, if there's a position change here in India, India will turn into the laughing stock. It will raise questions about ease of doing business. It will raise question about foreign capital coming to India. And to substantiate that point, Volkswagen argued that they've brought in as many as 30,000 consignments over the last 15 years, and it's only now that there suddenly seems to be a change in stance by the customs authorities. And speaking of these consignments, important to clarify that there were fears expressed that consignments destined for Volkswagen are being held up by the customs authority. That is something that the tax department has clarified on, saying that no effort is being made in that direction. It's been recorded by the Bombay High Court that no such impeding efforts will be made by the tax department. But having said that, the tax department also saying that it's considering whether Volkswagen needs to cough up a bank guarantee to secure this demand of $1.4 billion. The hearing in this case will resume on February 20th.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ashmit. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break and we get to cues from the world of commodities after the break. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC-TV18. Now, Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar has been appointed as the Chief Election Commissioner by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led selection committee effective of February 19th. His term will run till January 26, 2029. He will be replacing Rajiv Kumar, who took charge as the CEC in May 2022 and will be retiring today upon reaching the age of 65. So that's the latest update that we have there. But let's move on and get you the latest coming in the world of commodities. And we have Manisha joining in with us this morning to tell us that. Good morning, Manisha.
Morning, Vinny. Thank you for that. I'll start with the crude oil prices, which have continued to stay under pressure. The investors are watching possible peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. But in the meanwhile, you also have Iraq's oil export, which is expected to resume next month. And then the markets also are looking at global trade war fears. So it's very contradicting with the kind of cues that we have in the global markets there. I also want to talk about metals, where we are looking at very mixed cues here as well. The major decline clearly comes in for copper, which fell more than 2% in the overnight markets. And with that, it has come off its 7-month highs that we were trading in the previous week there. Also, when you look at the U.S., that is COMEX and LME copper prices, the gap has now widened to nearly 10%, where the U.S. copper is commanding a higher premium. China also ordering restrictions on copper smelting has had the prices coming off there. And a quick word on gold then, and the prices here as well have seen some support coming back. The decline in US dollar index has taken gold prices back above $2,900 an ounce. There is a risk of market disruptions due to US tariffs, and that uncertainty keeps the safe haven demand going for gold.
Okay, Manisha, thank you so much for that. But let's move on. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with the Chinese tech leaders. Emily Tan is joining in with us to give us the details from the symposium.
Of course, if you may remember what happened last week on Friday, the Hong Kong market, the tech plays went gangbusters, and that was all leading up in anticipation of this symposium. We weren't quite sure when it was going to be happening, but it took place yesterday morning when President Xi Jinping met with about 20-30 of these top CEOs of these private sector entrepreneurs in Beijing. It was a very mixed picture, but Tencent was a standout there, as you could see, and China He as well, up 3.3%. Xi Jinping telling the entrepreneurs it is the right time for enterprises and entrepreneurs to showcase their talents and make significant contributions. He assured them of the persistent government support and giving them wider market access, also urging them to contribute more to tech innovation amid intensifying rivalry with the United States. Also, to maintain competitive spirit and to have confidence in the country's future, with President Xi Jinping saying that the challenges were temporary. So this did provide a boost to the sector sentiment. The sector basically was reassured after entrepreneurs had been rattled. It basically went to lift up confidence a little bit, and the event will likely, analysts say, be followed by some concrete pro-technology policies. That is now what we need to see, of course, as the government tries to support its economy in the last half year, as we've been watching, of course, all the policies that have been thrown at the economy. We really need the demand side policies to kick in here. So this On the whole, a strong show of support from President Xi Jinping. It fueled a market rally, and then we're going to be watching what's next in terms of the policies that come through. You could see one of the standouts yesterday was Tencent shares up 4%. Xiaomi as well, better for 1%. Martin.
Okay, thank you so much for that. But that's all the time we have on this edition of Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, Pass Our Morning Call.